couple of times just for fun. Again, it's not a drift car.
This looks cool as fuck. How cool is that? I mean, both of them. My Silvia there, that's time attack spec chassis, to be honest, suspension and all the stuff. Then yes, I did use it for a little bit of drifting, a couple of times just for fun. Again, it's not a drift car, it's a grip racing car, but it's diesel now, and with the massive turbo. And on the top you have old school Ford F-1 with a nice LSX. All we're missing there is a gigantic turbo. I love the view from this perspective, you know, because even though these are 295s, they look small in comparison to what we have on the back. But it suits the truck. I think this is perfect. So there's more progress. Well, first of all, I'm back from camping, so that was good. It was freezing at night, -6, -7, but you know what, was great. During the day was just beautiful weather, so all nice, fresh and rested. However, yeah, in the workshop we got a proper chaos now. It's bits everywhere. Between Steve obviously rebuilding his engine, which is over there, bits everywhere, new axle, tires. It's a chaos. Bits for this, for the Ford, yeah, just oh, coilovers. This is just for the mock-up. Well, we may leave them, I don't think so, but I use it for the mock-up. But let me show you the progress. I didn't have the camera on because I forgot. That's it. I forgot the camera because I took it for camping. I left it in a van, and van was home because I'm using the Audi to come to work, so I just didn't have the camera with me for 2 days, so I forgot. Today is Wednesday, and within 2 days we've done more work. As I said, I got the subframe in, I got the steering rack in. It's all squared, it's all welded on, including the reinforcements and everything. Obviously these are not the bolts, these are just there to keep everything in place. I got both arms, well, both sides on, including the hubs. Calipers, they just arrived. There should be one lying somewhere on the floor here. I probably lost it somewhere. Oh, it's there. One is there, one is over there. Again, like I say, it's chaos. I'm probably gonna stop tomorrow for a couple of hours and tidy up, because again, it's itching. When it's so much chaos here, I really don't like it anymore. However, yeah, this is the progress. We got everything. I found the geometry. Once you got the coilovers, I set up at 0 degree camber, half a degree camber, 7 degree caster, and this is the position where it should be everything. Now this is the turret, whatever you want to call it, for the top mount is going to be here. This is straight. If you see the line on the chassis from here, again, is not accurate 100% yet. That's why it's only spot welded, because they still need some work to do. This has to be shortened, because this is gonna be inside the chassis, welded from the inside as well to make it all stronger. It actually follows the coilover. Is actually on the chassis at 7 degree, exactly the same as a caster, not straight, because I don't know, I think this is how it should be built. All right, let me explain this quickly. I was going for options. I was like, okay, we can do a nice, like, kind of motorsport style, old tubular, you know, top and everything. And I was like, hold on, this is old. I know we put in newer stuff like modern suspensions and modern steering and coilovers and all that stuff, but we're still working on something which is old school. The modern stuff is to make a handle as good as possible, easy to replace, make it simple. That's the key. But also, this is beautiful. I love doing this stuff. This is something I could just continue to do until the end of my days. To be honest, it's just a pride. I do enjoy it. I probably enjoy more days than the Econoline. It's a bit of a, I don't know, it reminds me when I used to build motorcycles. There is a bit of a artistic touch into it, and I really like it. So I say I want to do something with the old school style, like it will be done back in the days. And I think I got it slightly, obviously, with this. Okay, it's TIG welded, because I want the welds to be nice and neat, because obviously this is going to be painted. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see all of this. It's going to be nicely painted, but the welds are going to be very neat, very small, because with MIG, they're just bigger than this, much bigger, and I didn't want that. Plus, again, I just want to put some proper effort into this and do it quality. So this is a box section. Obviously, drill the holes this way, and you have pipes inserted, which is exactly the same as this. It's a 44mm, machine to 42.5 or something like this, because I obviously, like you've seen, I've drilled the holes with the hole saw, and to match obviously the sizes, these had to be machined slightly, removing about 3/4 of a mil. Inserted, obviously, one here, one there, one here, one there, and then this one is the same pipe, same tube, is just much longer, so it sticks out. Why does it stick out? Because as you know, like I said, this chassis leg is obviously weakened, because I have to notch that, and also we have to put a little bit of a notch here to allow this arm to go up and down. Well, up, down, there's no issues. So I'm gonna make this chassis weaker from this point of view. So like I said before, I have to make it stronger and make something triangulated on top here, like a big structure. Now, this being said, this is gonna be here. These pipes, they're gonna have another pipe coming from here down here, so makes it triangle from here to there. This is one triangle, but also, if you pay attention, this is on the side of the chassis, not in the middle. So this being on the side of the chassis going this way, it also makes kind of like a triangle from this pivot to there. That's it really. This is the progress. Well, all of this in today, so it's not too bad, because remember, it's not just fabrication, because you see the stuff that is already finished, but there's a lot of measuring and calculating, and you know, the angles you put these arms on, this between this and that one, it dictates the way the car is going to handle. I'm trying to do as much anti-dive as possible without compromising too much, so it should be okay. Again, it's all guesswork, to be honest. You cannot predict completely what is going to happen, but I think it's going to be good. But we'll see. The goal with this is trying to make it a pleasure to drive, because one thing is having something nice, and then it's like, yeah, you're going to drive it on the weekend because it's cool, but I don't want it that way. I want this, I want George to take it for a drive because it's a pleasure to drive, not because it's just a cool car. It's a pig to drive, but it's a cool car, so I drive it anyway. No, it's a nice car and it's a pleasure to drive. And this is what I want to achieve. So, well, let's go ahead, do the other side, and that's it. And I'm off. Tomorrow I'm not gonna do pretty much nothing on this, maybe a little bit, because tomorrow I have to finish a couple of things on the van, bring the trailer here, because on Friday we out for camping again. Hey, why not? So, see you soon. Sorry, I had to volume down the music because otherwise YouTube will cut it off. So, like I say, we put the front shield frame completely square to the rear point of the chassis where we're gonna mount the rear axle, because this is what we want. The geometry that matters is in between. Okay, not anything else, it doesn't really matter. I mean, this chassis could be bent, one leg could be different than the other one, it doesn't matter what you do, it's what's in between. So these are all strategical points, I will call it this way. So in comparison to obviously this months when we have them completely square, we have to put this and this exactly square, exactly the same depth inside the chassis. As you see, they go inside, so exactly the same on this side. And then obviously, once you got 90-degree angle, both of them, they both, if you can see it, maybe on the side, they lie they on the angle at 70 degree. 70 degree because we have 70-degree caster, and I wanted them to be online with the coilovers, so that's why 70 degree. They could be straight, no problems with that. They could be different angles, no problems, but I just want them to be aligned with the coilovers. It's just my choice, but it's not a rule, to be honest. You can do it whatever you want. Now, to make sure this is all square and precise, you do a cross measurement. So, for example, you have these points here, they're exactly the same. Each one is over there, you can see it. So you measure one here, one there, make it completely across and adjust accordingly. So the measurement between this and that, between this and that, has to be exactly spot on. But in order to make sure that is a valuable or reliable measurement, you have to make sure the point from here to the top where you measure is exactly the same as here. Because if this is, for example, a couple of mil longer, all right? So this measurement is going to be longer than this, and it is going to give you false reading. So everything has to be square, I mean proper square, up to a couple of tenths of a mil top. If you can make it perfect, then there you go, it's even better. I'm really obsessed with the geometry, so for me it has to be completely perfect. And once you find a final obviously measurement, everything is square, you're happy with, you put at least one across. One across is fine, as soon as you have one here, and obviously these two, they connected there, so you have this triangle and this creates another triangle, so you don't need another across there. That's fine, because this will keep that in place and it will keep this in place, no problems. Then obviously you see there's another two of them, there's one there and one over there, to keep obviously this stable when we're gonna weld it. Now if you want that, if they're not strong enough, because obviously this is very thin and it bends, okay? If I bend this, obviously I'm gonna decrease its length and I'm gonna pull this. If I push on this strong enough, I'm gonna pull this towards the chassis. So what happens, why I have them in place? Because as you can see, I'll show you, this pipe here is welded inside of the chassis, and this then I actually pivoted around this tube because it's exactly the same tube as this, okay? And then I find my measurements. Now, once I got this in place and this in place, this shouldn't move at all. That is true. However, as you know, the welds, they pull massively. So even I have these cut it very nicely, and this is very flat and nicely, all the stuff, there's not much room to pull, the welds will always pull. So what happens? If I'm gonna weld this up first, this will pull this way. Now this is not strong enough. It will probably push it, it will probably make it bend it, so this will pull it there. Okay? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna weld this section first, because when I'm gonna pull on this won't be able to pull it. You can push it and bend it, but you cannot pull it because it's rather straight. If that was bent, you straighten up, but it's rather straight, you cannot pull it. So this section first, weld it up, cool it down, and then you know this hasn't been moved, because again you can't pull this. And to be honest, if it pulls from this triangle of the chassis, then fair enough. If you can pull that section of the chassis just with the weld, then that weld actually deserves to pull this up, but it's not gonna happen. These weldings here, this is MIG, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this. They're fairly alright, you know, they not looking bad, blah blah blah, but I'm not okay with this one. This is the fella I don't like it. The inside obviously has to be MIG welded because you can't get in and TIG. But this, I think I've done a mistake, because you got all TIG welded here all around, nice. Again, this is all gonna be painted, so you're not gonna be able to see this, but behind the paint, this is nice and smooth. There's no big MIG welding bits sticking out, because it's much thicker, the weld itself, than the TIG. The weld from the MIG is thicker than the TIG. Obviously, it's much neater and cleaner. And to be honest, now I have to weld these pipes close to the TIG welding. Is all nice and clean and neat. I was like, I just can't use a MIG on this. It kind of ruins it. So I will have to drag all my TIG equipment, one of the welders, the bottle and everything, and I'm gonna TIG it, because I just feel like this was a mistake, and it's like, no, it shouldn't be there. So I think this is kind of pointless now, kind of, but I'm gonna feel better if I'm gonna remove these welds. You know, be able to remove it completely, because obviously there's a penetration, the weld goes inside because you melt the material, plus adding something on the top. But I'm gonna remove what I added on the top, nice and flush, nice and clean, and I'm gonna pass it with a TIG so it looks exactly the same as this, because this honestly will bother me. I can't do it, I can't leave it like this, so I have to fix it. And so now I'm just gonna remove the laser, like I said before, because I use my camera tripod to set this in place. But I'm gonna remove it and put the camera back in place. I don't need it, I don't need this body anymore. So yeah, however, this is the size I'm probably gonna use and would like to use. These are 18s. They look still small compared to these ones, but I think this is the width that we have to use, because you know we're going silly with this. And if you ever ask, before you ask any comments about why we're using this massive dragster wheels on the back, because obviously, as you know, 255, 275, there will be plenty, it will be enough, because today's tires, they really grip, they really hook up properly, so you don't need anything bigger. The reason why we're using this, because we're not building a drag car, we're building a kind of like a old pickup, hot rod style, something fun, something strange, something slightly different, and we do it for the only one reason, because it's cool, and that's it. That's the only reason. yeah, pretty happy with that. Not too bad. It was a bit pain ass well inside there, ups and down, a bit tight. I remember when I used to build roller cages and you have to go in places like this, but it wasn't as comfortable as this. There's no access, you have to lie pretty much, you know, upside down, sometimes legs out the sunroof, out the window, and your head stuck in between the pipes and just welded inside there. So, however, if this was MIG welded, so pretty much this stuff, yeah, this instead of this, it will take, I would say, I don't know, 5 times less time, probably even less, because no, it's less, probably you probably go like 7-8 times quicker. It really is quick in comparison, but obviously it's a different type of welding. So yep. Woo. That was some classic dose for me. I love it. Headsets, 6 hours of greatest classics, and you're ready to do all of this. good balance. Yeah, so as you've seen, I went a little bit nuts on this. We didn't have to. It was very simple, just to make a plate and bolt to that, obviously weld to that. But it would be boring, like I said. Then I spoke with George. It was like, you know what, I like this. Don't worry, I do like the way you're going. So do it. Makes me happy because I can, you know, just do whatever I think is best. The reason why I thought these are good, because it kind of resembles this stuff, you know, it's the same style. I think it just matches the stuff. Now obviously I'll probably have to make an insert here, like I said, to hold this, and then from this one is gonna hold this one. Maybe something in between, probably gonna put 2 pipes here, because when you're gonna start to have some torsional stress, we're gonna start have some movement, because the metal is not 100% rigid if you don't put a structure on it. So this pipe is gonna be pretty much long, and when you start having, you know, pressure on the suspension, and if you hit the bump stop, for example, this we want to move up more than this, because you're gonna be on a shorter pipe, and there may be some distortion in between, but the surface is still flat. It may crack the top one, which is just a thin aluminium. So to avoid that, I'm probably gonna connect this to this on both sides, here and there. So this thing is gonna make one piece. There's not gonna be distortion between this and this, so there's not gonna be stress on this, and we avoid the risk of cracking it. So yeah, it is quite a lot of work to do it this way instead of make it simple, but I think it's worth it. But mostly he thinks it's worth it. So because at the end of the day, customer has to be happy. You know, I have to be happy when I'm building. If I'm not happy, I'm not doing this. That's the deal. So I won't do anything stupid or anything dangerous or anything that is like completely out of, you know, what I think is good. It's a bit selfish, I know, but that's the deal. So far we are in agreement. So far he likes it, I likes it. So it's been some time now. Oh, this is a good balance, I think. Yeah, and I think this is the way to go. The reason why, there's no reason really. This is just the way we like it. Some may not, we do, and that's the main thing, you know. So I'm happy. I'm really happy with the fact that I'm doing this the way I will like it to do, and he's completely fine with this. He likes it 100%. So I'm quite lucky with this. This way you can really push forward, you know, because, you know, it's just, this job is passionate. If you don't have a passion about this job, you can't do it. I say that so many times now, and this is one of these great examples, you know. If you just want to get the job done, you just do the quickest way, the simplest way, and if you're passionate about it, that's not the case. It's not about the time you spend, or make it simple. Just make it the way you would like it to have. So, all right, let's go forward, get more done. As this may don't seem as a lot of work, and it actually is, try to put everything square. What I mean by putting everything square, so this has to be exactly in the middle of this, and so this one. This has to be exactly level with this, and so that one. This has to be exactly this level in comparison to this of it looks like 7-8 degree, and so that one, and they have to be completely symmetrical. Also, there has to be exactly the same level, the height of that in comparison to this, and so that one. So not only you have to find all these angles, make it completely square, but you have to copy that one. Now, as you see, I put this one on just to have a comparison, just to have something to relate to, and to actually weld them on. So what I did, I chopped this at the length. I want this, I want the space between these two. This obviously then is welded underneath. For this, obviously spot welds only, nice and square. Then you make sure again with the laser, whatever, is square exactly to the rest of the chassis, to the back, because again we doing the front in comparison with the back. So that's what interests us. That was very important. Not the front, not the back, what's in between. Now let me just show you a little bit of what I've done here, because it just looks like a turret or whatever you want to call it with reinforcements, but there's a little bit more behind it. You see, you put, let's say you put reinforcements, but then those reinforcements, let's say if that wasn't there, this reinforcement is not really great, because you see this surface here is pretty much flat. It can actually move up and down because it's a C shape. Okay, so what I did, I brought from, there's a bridge here, you can see that reinforcement over there, back there, it's very strong. All of this section is extremely strong. There's no torsional movement that way or in any way, to be honest, from here. So I can use that, and then I make a triangle from here to there. So also this bit here is extremely solid and rigid. Then I make a triangle from here to there, which this makes a triangle. So this section with this section is extremely strong, and there's no torsional movement here. So that's why I choose this point. Okay, so I have to match this to this, and this obviously to the rest of that. As you can see the front, if this was here, for example, again this can move up and down, but I extended it to the, obviously the very end where the rivet is on this. So this is fairly stable now. Again, it's not triangulated as that one. I don't think it needs to be, because this is sufficient support, because again this is a box section, and this will not move up and down because obviously it's riveted here, and obviously we have to push this. So I think that's good enough. Well, I'm pretty sure it's good enough. So like you see, this is not just few bars and couple of pipes welded together, or triangles just make that so they look good. I do spend quite a lot of time just to focus and think where the mechanical stress distribution is gonna be when I design anything to do with the chassis or suspensions. And sometimes it looks like I've spent a lot of time and there's not much of fabrication going on or done, but you can't just fabricate stuff. It has to be done correctly in the right place, because there's no adjustments after. We can do some corrections on camber, obviously, because we have adjustments here, but that's it, you know. Caster, again, we can, but obviously the baseline has to be symmetrical, has to be spot on exactly where you want it, and from then you can adjust the rest. So yeah, that's it. Also these ones, for example, this, I don't think you can, oh yeah, there you go, you see, because again this is an idea which was born after obviously using these top mounts instead of like a normal straight plate. It's not a mistake, because again at the time this was a good idea, but now I wish I extend these spiders inside there, not flush but exactly like this, so I had another support. So I had to machine these ones slightly smaller diameter, so I got like 1.5 mm of insert that goes inside there very precisely in, there you go, and then all of them on the back on this side as well, and I can weld them around, but also they inserted there. I don't want the welds to hold any structural bits. I want the structure to be solid and stay in place, and then welds to hold everything together. That's it. This is the style we're going for. Any technical reason for this? Absolutely not. This is just for the look, and we just think it's cool. I like stuff like this because, you know, on a race cars, for example, when you build a race car, there's no room for stuff like this. It has to be strong, light, and efficient. In this case, now you have the balance between the three, so it gives you room for kind of creativity, if you say it this way. It's like, I'll show you the cage of my race car. There's nothing beautiful about it, and yet she is a beauty because nice and neat. This is T45 TIG welded, you know, all extended, sort of work, but there's no room for creativity, not in that way. Your creativity only has to be focused on lightweight, stiffness, and efficient. So that's it. In this case, I can do whatever I want, almost.